Hey everybody, it's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Some interesting developments in the guidance over the last couple days. We kind of hinted at this yesterday and this morning that the trend in colder and wetter is something we need to keep a close eye on, and that potential is increasing our threat for ice for a big chunk of our area on Thursday. So let me show you where this system is. We're actually cooling off pretty quickly tonight, but you can see the storm system taking shape right here. There it is. It's going to be moving across the south and basically a little bit further south than the storm that hit just 2 days ago that brought us, the heavy rain and some lightning and thunder. I guess it was only a day ago now, but this is the next system in the line, and this one, it's going to have bigger impact on us for sure. We're certainly going to see that potential for ice. The cold air, it's been centered over the middle of the country, but I'll tell you what, it's starting to creep closer to the Carolinas. We're seeing some of that cold air spilling into the mountains and starting to wrap around and get wedged up against the mountains in that typical, what we call cold air damming regime. And that's really setting the stage for this ice event. So real quickly, I want to show you where the ice, the winter storm watch is right now. And again, when you see this, immediately people think, okay, winter storm watch. No, this is for ice. Winter storm watches are issued for any winter precipitation ahead of time. So this could be upgraded, and this is a key part. Winter storm warning is where we start. It either goes to freezing rain advisory, winter weather advisory, ice storm warning, or winter storm warning. All four of those are upgrades of a winter storm watch. So there's no such thing as an ice storm watch or a freezing rain watch or anything. That the winter storm watch is like a catch-all, is where we start. So it's expecting significant ice accumulations, and you can see more counties could be added to this, or we could see freezing rain advisories or winter weather advisories added to these surrounding counties. Remember, the weather doesn't stop at county lines. This is just the way the jurisdictions issue things. So in saying that, that means we could see ice outside of it, but also it does mean in some cases the reason the winter storm watch is up is if we expect the northern parts of these counties to have ice, we got to issue them for the whole county. So, a good example is like Iredell and Mecklenburg. They're really long counties, so you end up getting, freezing rain in one part of the county. You have to issue basically a watch or a warning for the whole county. It's getting cold quick out there tonight. Look at these readings in the mountains. Teens and below freezing already in many locations. That's the Arctic air spilling in, and we're also seeing really dry air. So why is dry air important? Well, cold air makes sense, right? But dry air means any moisture that comes in and evaporates actually lowers the temperature again. So the lower the dew points are, the more cooling we could have as the system approaches. So let me show you how this is going to unfold here. Tomorrow should be fine. So Wednesday, you got time to prepare. And again, I would prepare for possible power outages, especially north, and grab some extra supplies. You might be stuck for a while. Starting early Thursday, the moisture starts riding up and over that cold air, and it could linger for a while. You see this storm is not in a big hurry to move on. It kind of takes its sweet time getting out of here on Friday. And we are going to be in this pattern where right here, and I'll show you, we're going to have this warm layer of air aloft. So we're either going to get sleet, freezing rain, or rain. It's going to bounce in between here. It's not going over in here, unfortunately. Sleet would be better, actually, because that would reduce the ice. Now, that's horrible on the roads, the sleet is, but the ice would not damage the trees and power lines. It doesn't stick to things like the freezing rain. The freezing rain sticks to literally every single thing it touches and just causes mass chaos. So that's our concern with freezing rain. Here it is closer up, and again, I just got this data in, so you're looking at it with me live. Temperatures, wind speed, clouds, precipitation. So we go to Wednesday night. First batch of moisture comes in. Notice temperatures generally mid to upper 30s, but you see below freezing. Foothills, I-40 corridor, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4, 5, we start seeing temperatures drop through the morning. So by 4 a.m., we're not at freezing, but we're pretty close. But up in here, we're solidly in the freezing line. So it's going to take a while for this, I think, to change over around Charlotte. And again, right there, 5, 6 in the morning, we see a changeover. Even almost down to Rock Hill and Monroe, 6 a.m., that's all freezing rain. And notice the winds coming out of the northeast. So we've got what we call barrier jet. This will help resupply the cold air as the warm air is riding up and over it. So that right there, that's a bad setup right there. 30 degrees in rain, 29 degrees in rain. Let's go to 7 a.m. That's a lot of our viewing area at or below the freezing mark. And it stays there for a while Thursday morning. Now the precipitation starts to push east a little bit. Temperatures try to recover. So by noon, I think we'll start to see things change back to rain because we're getting closer to the freezing mark and above. So we're probably going to see a break happen in the middle of the day. But some areas, again, the areas that I'm worried about are up here that may never get above freezing. And again, this is just guidance. This is probably going to be a little too warm. Typically, these cold air vents are a little colder than the guidance indicates. So you see we go into Thursday night, temperatures try to cool back down again to freezing. So we get freezing rain and drizzle that could linger into early Friday morning. So this potentially could be a long event. And if we stay below freezing, that certainly could keep things much icier than we're anticipating. So I've upped my ice totals from earlier, and I'll quickly show them to you and give you time to kind of absorb these. I've got a solid 3/10 to 4/10 up in here. Folks, if you live in that dark purple area, you need to be ready for extended power outages. Even if it doesn't happen, I'd rather be prepared now because we've only got a day and a half basically to get ready. That's potentially like the ice we saw Saturday morning up in these areas, which was really bad. Up in here, it's going to be over a much bigger area. And even close to Interstate 40, this area in here could see significant icing. And here, while I don't think we'll see a damaging ice storm yet, there's still some questions about how far south and how long that cold air. So pretty much everybody in our viewing area should be ready potentially for power outages. So just to give an idea what these numbers mean, because, you know, gosh, 1/10 of an inch in ice, Brad, doesn't seem that bad. Well, 1/10 of an inch is kind of that magic number we look at for where we start having travel issues and glaze on the trees. Generally, we don't have power outage issues with 1/10 of an inch. When we start to see power lines become an issue, it's at a 1/4 inch. We know mathematically that's about the number it takes to add enough weight to a power line or tree branch to weigh it down. Now, it doesn't always break, but we start to see failure of trees and power lines at a 1/4 inch. Once we get above a 1/4 inch, we start getting up in this 1/2 inch and higher, we get crippling effects. 1/2 inch is like power outage, could last for days. Roads are impassable, mainly because trees and power lines are down, but also slick conditions on the roads as well. So keep that in mind when you look at these maps. That 1/4 inch and above, if you live in that area, man, have some extra food, have some blankets, have some some extra heating sources. Be ready to be without power for a while. Charge everything up. And I always like showing this map because it kind of shows the probabilities of seeing a 1/10 of an inch. I'm going to build one with a 1/4 inch to give everyone a better idea, but you see the big bullseye up here. I mean, that's a solid, that's all above 70% essentially chance of seeing a 1/10 of an inch. That's, in weather terms, 2 days out, that's a pretty good chance. Now in Charlotte, you notice the blue, which is the one I look at a lot, that's 40 to 50%, starting to creep closer. But a pretty tight gradient here to 1% across the area. But the trend has been this way, and I'll show you what I mean by the trend, because I can actually pull it up here. So let me bring, actually I'm going to show you that in a second. So I've showed you this before. This is the blend of the models. And it's actually a really useful product because it shows all the guidance averaged out, and it actually uses the FRAM, which is the freezing rain accumulation model, which is much more accurate than just taking the QPF, which we call, and freezing it. So, you know, if you see numbers like that, that's usually inflated. This is much more realistic, real world. So what I want to show you here is what this looks like over the trend. So I'm going to do what's called the trend loop. I'm going to go in here, and we're going to show you the trend. So the most recent model run is right there. So you see that most recent model run? Man, 4/10 of an inch in Greensboro, 1/4 inch in Hickory, and even Charlotte's getting close to a 1/10 of an inch. But you see those totals even down to Greenville. So that's the most recent one. This one literally just came in tonight. Let's go back a frame, which is the last run, the run before that, 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 and there it is. So watch the trend. So we went back in the future. Let's go. So this is the run from, I believe this was initiated on Monday morning, or Sunday night, excuse me. So this was the Sunday night run, and this runs every 6 hours. So the next one brought it further south, further south, further south, further south, further south, further south, until the point we get tonight, and we've got that. So the trend has been more ice and farther south. So the fact that we're seeing that, the fact that I'm seeing temperatures much colder already in the mountains and foothills, showing me that we've got cold air coming in from the north and the west, as well as the north and east. That all spells icy threat. So tonight, I just want to give you a heads up that I'll do updates, and I'm going to do updates probably tomorrow and again tomorrow night. But you need to be prepared for potentially power outages, especially the further north you go. If you live at the North and South Carolina border north, I would be ready for potentially slick roads and power outages. Interstate 40, I think you really got to be prepared. So don't take any chances in this setup. I'm going to show you this one more time because this is what we have right now. If you're in this darker, this area right in here, I want you to be ready for significant icing. And down here, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit prepared down there, though. I think the chances are much lower. I'll be on tonight at 11. I will make any updates to the map. I will post them. Of course, I will do a complete blog tomorrow morning on this ice setup. So please be safe out there, everybody.